Good evening, good evening. I love the energy in the room. I want to welcome everybody to the National Endowment for Democracy's 40th anniversary. We gather tonight to recognize creative and courageous honorees with our Democracy Awards and our Democracy Service Medals, to pay tribute to those who have contributed to NED's legacy, and to commit to work together in common cause in support of democratic renewal. But first, let me invite you to enjoy your meal, please. At NED, we know that today's challenges mean that we must work in common cause with others. You are part of a remarkable community of people working together to safeguard freedom and to renew democracy around the world. NED, of course, is a creature of Congress. That's why we're so pleased that we will hear from many supporters from the Hill tonight, from Senators Jeanne Shaheen and Dan Sullivan, who also serves as the chair of the International Republican Institute, NED board member Representative Joaquin Castro, as well as Representatives Jason Crow, Mario Diaz-Balart, Barbara Lee, and Joe Wilson. I really want to welcome Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield, who is with us this evening, and all the members of the administration who have joined. And we're especially pleased to be able to welcome Premier Su of Taiwan and Prime Minister Kallas of Estonia. It's great to see so many members of the diplomatic corps, congressional staff who are our partners in this important work. But I'm particularly pleased on our 40th to be with so many NED board members, former board members, former NED chairs, and the Core Institute chairs, who Ken Wallach, our chairman, will introduce later in the program. So yes, this is a NED family anniversary. And so I want to congratulate my partners at the Core Institute, Shauna Bader-Blau from the Solidarity Center, Dan Twining from the International Republican Institute, Andrew Wilson from the Center for International Private Enterprise, and Oya Cato and Stephanie Rust from the National Democratic Institute. We are a NED family. But most of all, welcome to all of those who work on the forefront of the struggle for democracy. Our honorees, so many NED partners who are here, current and former Reagan-Fussell Fellows, many of whom have traveled from around the world. We are here because of you. We're honored to be your partners, to stand alongside your work. Thank you for joining the NED family to mark our 40 years of supporting freedom around the world. Tonight would not have been possible without our sponsors, so thanks to our co-chairs, Eileen Donahoe and the Herford Foundation, represented by Jane Kurtzman. All proceeds raised for our anniversary go directly to our mission. We're grateful for everyone who's contributed to the institution. 40 years. In 1983, when fewer than 60 countries were considered free, when Soviet-backed communism posed an existential threat to the free world, when apartheid reigned in South Africa, when military juntas and dictatorships committed atrocities with little prospect for accountability. President Ronald Reagan, just a year earlier, addressing both houses of the British Parliament at Westminster, issued a call to, quote, foster the infrastructure of democracy, the system of a free press, unions, political parties, universities, which allows a people to choose their own way, to develop their own culture, to reconcile their own differences through peaceful means. And drawing on the pillars of American political life and the best of our democratic values, Democrats, Republicans, business and labor, came together behind the simple idea that American civic actors should stand by those working for democratic goals around the world. And after 40 years, NED has delivered on this vision as America's foundation for freedom, supporting more than 2,000 partners in over 100 countries. And this only happened because of committed visionaries, like Frank Fahrenkopf, who is with us this evening. Thank you, Frank. And Frank, as he well knows, our other NED family founders, from Chuck Manat, Lane Kirkland, Madeleine Albright, and John McCain, to Jay Van Andel, Ed Donnelly, Sally Shelton Colby, and John Richardson, and other champions in Congress like Orrin Hatch, Bill Brock, Charles Percy, and most determinedly, Dante Fascell, a small group of people who believed that our values and interests were best served when American citizens supported the democratic aspirations of people in societies, in all societies and cultures. NED would not exist today without those, many who are in this room, who ensured that that vision became a reality. And first among those is our founding president, Carl Gershman. Carl? Carl, please stand. Please stand, Carl. Please stand. Carl, this room is a testament to your leadership, your persistence, and your conviction during 37 years at the helm of NED. So Carl, of course, built NED with dedicated people by his side. Some have passed, like Nadia Duke, but many are present. Mark Plattner, Barbara Haig, joined by folks like Larry Damon, David Lowe, Zarmina Nashir. I want to thank all the NED alumni who have joined us tonight, and I want to thank many on the NED team who have served this noble cause for decades. You've met many current NED staff this evening. They are all driven, they are all determined, and it is a privilege to work with them every day as stewards of this institution. So while we're gathered to salute those who shaped the NED's family's rich history, we do so most effectively by honoring those on the front lines of the fight for freedom today. And while the world is far more democratic today than our founding, authoritarianism is again on offense. This is a consequential moment for democracy around the world. We face a more hostile and more complex environment, more sophisticated adversaries who back each other up, who use technology, information, and financial networks for repression at home and abroad. Thus, it's our role to support, to connect those around the world to lead a counter-mobilization to defend democracy and challenge tyranny. And for NED, it's personal. We build relationships of trust for the long term, while being nimble as crisis strikes from Burma to Afghanistan, Nicaragua to Ukraine, Sudan, to Israel and Gaza. Yet Washington often responds with debates on military or humanitarian aid, and our nation's far more modest support for democratic groups is our most cost-effective investment in a more peaceful, democratic, and prosperous world. As Dante Fascell understood, the best way to stop autocrats is to empower their people. And so, with our partners, in the face of new challenges, we're learning, we're adapting, we're innovating. They are forging a pathway to renew democracy, with voters demanding change in Zambia, Guatemala, Poland, Thailand, to unprecedented unity among democratic forces in Venezuela and Burma, a surge in youth activism across Africa, female political participation in South Asia, Ukrainians, Moldovans, Georgians being welcomed into Europe, to young Hong Kongers leveraging technology to break through the Great Firewall. Our partners won't stop. We see every day the insatiable demand for democracy as people risk everything for the simple idea of having a say over their own future. But we cannot be naive about the challenges, but we should not be cynical about the prospects for change. Nor must we let hubris exaggerate our role. Rather, our choice is simple: to stand on the sidelines as people pursue their rights, often at great risk, or we step up to lend some support. And thankfully, our founders, our political leaders, those in this room believe in solidarity. So to that end, tonight, we pay tribute to exceptional leaders who are at the forefront of advancing justice, democracy, and freedom. We honor the courageous people's movement in Iran, insisting on basic freedoms. Independent media ensuring that the Taliban cannot isolate the Afghan people. Trailblazers who are circumventing censorship in the world's most repressive regimes, and brave individuals imprisoned or killed for their democratic activism. We will recognize President Tsai Ing-wen for her efforts to safeguard Taiwan's democracy, and Bishop Silvio Baez for his advocacy for liberty in Nicaragua. We'll offer a special tribute to and a remarkable music performance by Jamala in honor of the people of Ukraine. So to kick us off, we turn to a remarkable, accomplished public servant, a former NED board member who inspired so many on the NED staff, and current U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield. Ambassador Thomas Greenfield has made not only her mark representing the United States in New York, but throughout her 35-year career in the Foreign Service, she's kept an open door to democratic activists around the world. So please welcome Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield to the stage.